China's exports and money supply grew more than estimated in September, signaling that the world's second biggest economy may be stabilizing after a slowdown that began in the first quarter of 2011. Overseas shipments increased 9.9% from a year earlier, the Customs Administration said October 13 in Beijing. That was more than the 5.5% median estimate in a Bloomberg News survey of economists. M2 money supply gained 14.8%, the fastest pace since June 2011, the central bank report showed the same day. Inflation numbers due today and an October 18 report on the third quarter economy will thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Complete the picture as officials assess whether more measures are needed to sustain growth as the Communist Party prepares for a once-a-decade leadership handover starting next month. At an International Monetary Fund meeting in Tokyo yesterday, central bank official Ye Gang said that bubble risks remain in housing markets in major cities and stimulus will be restricted to an appropriate level. Better than expected export growth is likely to help support employment and reduce pressure for more policy easing ahead of the leadership transition, said Chong Jian, a Hong Kong-based economist at Barclays plc. Monetary easing has been constrained by concerns. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. About a rebound in property prices and medium-term inflation risks. The lack of a big fiscal stimulus also points to concerns about rising government debt, banks' non-performing loans, and inefficient investment, she said. Inflation forecast. Inflation was 1.9% last month, close to a two-year low, according to the median forecast in a Bloomberg News survey. China's gross domestic product expanded 7.4% in the third quarter from a year earlier, according to the median in a separate survey, the seventh quarterly deceleration. Ye, the deputy governor at the central bank, said yesterday that while this thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Year's inflation rate is fine and maybe 2.7% for the full year. Longer-term threats are from agricultural costs and prices for imported raw materials, commodities and energy, which can be driven up by global monetary easing. The IMF last week reduced its estimate for China's growth this year to 7.8%, which would be the weakest pace since 1999, as Europe's debt crisis crimps exports. Alcoa Incorporated, AA, the largest U.S. aluminum producer, cut its forecast for global consumption of the metal on slowing Chinese demand. Limiting stimulus. China has refrained from implementing stimulus on thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. The scale of the $4 trillion $586 billion at the time package it unleashed at the end of 2008 during the global financial crisis. The response to the latest slowdown has included 2 cuts in interest rates, 3 reductions in bank reserve requirements, lower taxes, higher spending on social welfare and accelerated investment approvals. The expansion in M2 was driven by the central bank pumping record amounts of cash into the money markets through reverse repurchase agreements, said Hu Yifan, Hong Kong-based chief economist at Haitong International Securities Group. New lending was below economists' estimates, data showed last. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Weak. Analysts' median forecast had been for a 13.7% gain in M2. The central bank's October 13 report also showed the nation's foreign exchange reserves, the world's largest, rose to $3.29 trillion in September from $3.24 trillion in June. Economic momentum. The trade and money supply data suggest economic momentum in China may be picking up, said Zhang Siwei, chief China economist with Nomura Holdings Incorporated in Hong Kong. These upside surprises are consistent with other positive signals in recent weeks indicating growth may rebound this quarter, he said. Shipments to the European Union fell 10.7%. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Last month from a year earlier. At the same time, those to Southeast Asian nations jumped 25.5% and sales to the U.S. increased at the fastest pace in 3 months. Imports rose 2.4%, in line with the median economist estimate, leaving a trade surplus of $27.7 billion, the biggest since June. In the first 9 months, the surplus widened about 38% from a year earlier to $148.3 billion, customs data show. that may provide ammunition to Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney, who pledges to designate the nation the currency manipulator if elected. A step. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. The U.S. government hasn't taken since 1994. Geithner take the trade data indicated that the value of China's exports to the U.S. exceeded its imports from the nation by about $21 billion in September. U.S. Treasury Secretary Timothy F. Geithner said in Tokyo on October 13 that while some progress has been made toward a more balanced economic relationship with China, more is needed. Anti-China rhetoric may feature in the lead-up to the presidential election on November 6, said Liu Gang, a Hong Kong-based economist with Australia and New Zealand Banking Group Limited (ANZ) to UN. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased, which touched a 19-year high against the dollar last week, may appreciate until then in response to the pressure, Liu said. The currency has gained about 2% since July 25. It closed last week at 6.2672 per dollar.